Welcome to another episode of the Thomas Clan Garden. Today we're going to do a second video about taking care of your tomatoes. Alright, so we're going to do a little bit of a walk around with the tomatoes while we're going over some care tips. Now, last time I was talking about how to sucker and prune tomato plants, as well as how to make sure that there's some fruit set. And so for anybody who hasn't watched the video, there's a couple of easy ways to make sure you get better fruit set. And the reason why is because all tomato flowers have both male and female sex organs within the flower itself, and so all it actually needs is vibration. It actually doesn't need to be pollinated by a pollinator. So the easiest thing to do, now the wind can do this, but the easiest thing to do is to just find a set of flowers and just shake it, vibrate it. You could do this, you could do this, you could vibrate the whole stem. Any one of those ways will work, because the most important part is getting these flowers shaking and moving to get the male pollinators to go into the female pollinators to have successful fruit set. Now this is really all it takes. Now I do this on all of the flowering vines that I see. I don't do it each one every day, but every couple of days it probably takes me a couple of days to touch each one once, and some of them I'll touch 2 or 3 times. Now this will not harm any successful fruit set. So like, just for example, if this one had already set fruit and the other ones hadn't, then it wouldn't do anything to harm the plant. That's fine, because it's already set. Now if the tomato flower reaches a certain part in its life and hasn't been set, it'll actually just break off about right here where the knuckle develops, which the knuckle is actually a great place to actually break the tomato off when it's ready to pick. Now the other thing that we went over was the suckering, the vining. So I just want to find a nice a sucker that's easy to see here. Unfortunately, I did such a good job, there are very few. Well, here, this is actually a sucker branch that I actually didn't cut off completely because it had successful fruit set, and it's actually produced more flowers in the last couple of days. So let's just shake it. And so basically, we'll imagine for a second that this is the main stem, and on any plant, that's exactly what it is. It's the main stem. Now, sucker vines, if broken off and planted, can become their own plant, which is why I'm still considering this a main stem. So this is the main stem right here. And then this right here, that is the leaf stem, or the leaf branch. And then right here in the middle, this little thing right here is the sucker branch. This would keep growing off, and this is how tomatoes get so big. They can just keep breaking off and expanding. So all you need to do is just bend it in the middle and pinch it off, and there you go. Also, if you saw my first video, I always drop it at the base and let the nutrients go back into the ground where the plant is. Oh wow, that's producing a lot of new flowers right here. There's another sucker branch that I didn't cut off, and now it's got a whole bunch of new tomatoes. Now a couple of more tips. Now, any tomato care expert will tell you that tomatoes need about 1 inch of rain a week to survive. What they don't tell you is that most varieties of tomato are extremely drought resistant, and they also can store a lot of energy in their roots. And so if you get a week with, say, 2 inches of rain, you probably are good to go for both of the next 2 weeks without watering, which is actually something that I practice. As you can see, I can barely walk through my path. That's, this is a 1.5 foot wide path, and you can barely see any of it with these plants. They are absolutely taking over, which is fantastic. And there is tomatoes everywhere. I mean, it's crazy. We have well over probably 200 tomatoes already, and we have probably another 400 to 500 flowers. I haven't counted in a week and a half, but at that point we had 537 flowers to 13 tomatoes. So I could tell you at least 100 of those flowers had set, and we've got a lot of new flowers. So I'm going to work my way to the front here, try to get out, and I'm going to show you some of these smaller tomato varieties here in a second too. Now, but back on topic, you have so we're talking about the drought resistance. You don't need to water these every day or do too much to them, and as you can see, they'll go pretty wild. I mean, this plant here, this is actually as tall as I am. It's actually, this top leaf is actually sitting just above my eye level. That's how tall these plants are right now. And one reason why you don't want to make sure that you don't overwater is because if tomato plants get too much water, they will not set fruit. The flowers will just break off, like I explained a moment ago. The reason why is because in most areas where tomatoes thrive, they have very rainy springs, very dry, and it gets drier throughout the year, which is such as the case in New England, where April showers bring May flowers, and it just basically keeps going from there. And it gets drier and drier throughout the summer. So what happens is it reaches a point, like a lot of the times for most people in this area, August comes where they have really, really hot days, and then the nights get a little cooler, and there's no rain or very little rain, and so the tomato says, uh-oh, I'm gonna die soon, so I need to set fruit so that way my seeds, which are all inside the tomato, can get ready to grow next year. And basically, if you keep watering, it still thinks it's spring. Even with the hot days, cool nights, it will still wait and wait and wait to set fruit. So yesterday I actually did water the tomatoes or I'm sorry, 2 days ago I did water the tomatoes because it was supposed to be very, very, very hot. It was supposed to be like 92, 93 degrees during the day. So I got up early and watered them, not realizing that the next day it was going to rain. We got 1.5 inches of rain yesterday, and as you can see by the way some of my carrots are laying down, it was quite the amount of water that came down. But that's okay. So I only gave them about a 1/2 inch of water, actually a little less, maybe about, well, more than a 1/4 inch, but not quite a 1/2 inch worth of water yet a couple days ago. So they got a little over 2 inches of rain. Now, even if it doesn't rain, I wouldn't have to water these again for a couple of weeks, and I probably could go close to a month. Now, keep in mind, I also only water on certain cycles of the moon, which I'll touch on that if you watch the Gardening by the Moon videos. So I do want to show off. I mean, you can see now, unfortunately all the tomatoes are still green, so it's tough to see all of them. When they all turn red, it's going to be just amazing. So I did want to show in the front here, these are green zebra tomatoes, which I got from Mary's Heirloom Seeds, if you saw the video I posted the other day, and they are doing just phenomenal. Now, these are indeterminate, but I haven't done too much to them because I planted them late, and so I wanted them to basically vine off and create as many tomatoes as possible. And I'll probably sucker them later. Actually, I'll probably sucker them within the next week or two, and hopefully they'll produce a lot of tomatoes. I mean, you can already see there's clusters of tomatoes already growing, doing fantastic. And then these are our Roma tomatoes, which I also planted late. Now, these are a determinate variety Roma, and you can see there are flowers everywhere, and you can see there's also tomatoes everywhere, and I can't wait till they turn red and make some sauce. Now I'm gonna post another video here pretty soon, in which I'm actually going to be planting a couple more plants. With the exception of the onion sets, these are the first things I'm going to be planting in the garden that are not from seed. These are San Marzano tomatoes, which one of our neighbors actually up the street gave us, and we're just going to plant them there. You see, I'm already getting started. So yeah, so that's it. So don't overwater your tomatoes. Only sucker the indeterminates. The determinate varieties or bush variety, they only produce flowers and set fruit once, so you don't want to sucker them. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our videos. Spread the word. And hopefully we'll see you again very, very soon. Later. Bye.